How's it going, everybody? Soundtrack Online here. We got Andrew Burns and returning Brett Fox, otherwise known as DJ MacDaddyFOX.
Check me out on YouTube.
Yeah, check me out on YouTube in the description. And talking here today after this Smackdown show.
Oh, man.
We're going to get into the show and break it down for you. But first I want to talk about some of the headlines and get Brett's thoughts on them, because he hasn't heard about them yet. I mentioned to you earlier, Brett, that we're going to have a Lesnar versus Randy Orton rematch.
Yeah,
but
ridiculous.
Yeah, well, it's not going to actually happen on pay-per-view or on any show. It's just going to be a house show match, because Brock Lesnar, it turns out, in his contract has to do a certain number of house show dates, and they let him pick who his opponent is going to be for his last one of the year, I think, and he picked Randy Orton. So they're going to have another match. Normally, his matches on house shows go about 5 minutes. So it may just be Brock Lesnar squashing Randy Orton.
Which
but
it probably will be.
Yeah, but, you know, they might have a better match than that. So if you're in the Chicago area and you want to see Randy Orton versus Brock Lesnar, then you have the opportunity to do that. And I'm sure you can enjoy it, and it'll be great. One of the things that everybody's talking about right now in light of the Finn Balor injury is, the question is Seth Rollins an unsafe worker? Because Bret Hart has been a loud critic of Seth Rollins ever since first he kneed Cena in the nose. I don't know if that was last year. I think it was. It was during their feud last year, kind of in the summer.
Yeah.
And at one point, Seth Rollins just knees John Cena right in the nose, just nails him. And it was the worst broken nose I've ever seen. He got absolutely destroyed by this knee.
Yeah, it was bad.
And then Seth Rollins injured Sting and ended his career.
Which is really bad.
That's pretty bad with that buckle bomb, the dreaded buckle bomb. And then he injured himself in the match against Kane, and he was out for a while. And now he's injured Finn Balor.
The same way.
Yes.
Injured Sting.
Well, the Finn Balor thing was a little bit different because it was outside the ring, and it was not. It's just not a good place to do that move. Personally, I think they should just not do the buckle bomb at all.
Bring back Crackdown.
Yeah, well, that would be great. But that's a different matter altogether. But they got to stop doing at least stop doing it outside, because the thing about this move is it's not even a finishing move. It never ends the match. It's just a match. It's just a move they do.
It just ends careers.
Yeah, it does. So what do you think about this? You think Seth Rollins is unsafe?
I don't know if I'd go so far to say it's unsafe. I would definitely say, some of the moves he is allowed to do there's a little bit to the extreme.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it is he feels a responsibility to be the best guy on the show.
Yeah.
And he wants to do all these moves, but he's got to. There's definitely something, some disconnect happening. This is a problem.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a big Seth Rollins fan, but and I think he's one of the best guys that they have on the roster on any show.
Very true.
But it's getting to the point where people might start being a little worried getting in the ring with Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
That's a huge problem.
So Seth Rollins, if you're listening to this, just slow it down a little bit, pal. Okay, another big headline today. Turns out that Ryback, he quit the WWE not too long ago. I guess it was a little bit after WrestleMania, and he said that he thought that all the wrestlers should be paid the same. An infamous statement from Ryback.
Huge mistake.
And it turns out that what the WWE was going to pay him was a $1.5 million contract. That's $500,000 a year. So he's going to get $1.5 million over the course of 3 years. This guy, who really had nothing to offer to the WWE.
At all.
I mean, Ryback, he was a big muscle-headed guy that had below-average matches, sometimes average matches.
I mean, when I think of Ryback, I think of squash matches.
Right, because that's what he did for most of his big, whenever he was starting off. He was beating two guys at once. But once he got past that stage, which we didn't even like anyway, there was really nothing in his entire career that he did that stands out. And they were still willing to pay this guy $1.5 million over 3 years. This guy's a fucking idiot.
He said no.
Yeah. Why the hell would you not take that money? This guy apparently was told by Vince that he was going to squash AJ Styles like, quote, the little twerp that he is. And thankfully they did not go that route, and AJ Styles is now like the best guy in the freaking main roster. But
very true.
Good Lord, thank God that didn't happen. And one last headline. Turns out that, Del Rio is still slated for obviously all of his dates after his suspension, but he has now been pulled from all of those dates. So there is no, on paper, there is no future for Alberto Del Rio in the WWE.
Which is great.
Brett thinks this is great news, which is...
I mean, he's by far one of the worst wrestlers I've ever seen wrestle in my entire life.
Well, I don't know if he's as bad as you make him sound, but he was...
Oh.
He had a lot of problems. He had a lot of botches. He's always taking people's masks off. Boring character.
I think it was the Royal Rumble match he had with the Big Show.
Yeah, we watched that match, and he completely missed him with that.
I'm not sure which Royal Rumble that was specifically, but if you could find it, it's Big Show versus Alberto Del Rio.
I think it was 2014.
Yeah, maybe, and it was by far one of the worst matches I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, it is awful.
Well, I don't know if I got that far, but it was definitely not a good match. Anyway, bottom line is, Brett, Del Rio missing, not going to miss a whole lot, although maybe he would have been a better replacement for Baron Corbin tonight on Smackdown in his match against Dean Ambrose. But so let's get into this show. Going into SmackDown, we were thinking, what are they going to do about The Miz? Because The Miz was like the most important thing that happened last week. It wasn't even on SmackDown. It was on the Smacking Talk show. So I was thinking, maybe they're going to address this. Maybe they're just going to completely ignore it.
Yeah.
At first, conventional wisdom says that they're probably just going to ignore it because that's what WWE normally does when something interesting happens. But turns out that was not the case. Show started with Miz making a beeline to the ring after Daniel Bryan and Shane were watching the segment back.
Yeah, they just shit on him some more.
Yeah, shit on him some more. Miz makes a beeline for the ring.
Which is awesome at first.
Yes, he's burying Daniel Bryan. He's saying that he's not a coward. Kind of saying the same kind of things that he said last week.
It's starting to look like he's standing up for himself.
Yeah, and it's intriguing. A good way to start the show.
Yeah.
And then here comes Dolph Ziggler.
Which is fun. He comes out there, he's making a compelling argument.
Yeah. He gets in the ring and he just starts burying The Miz. Says that The Miz is a coward. He's a loser. Nobody takes him seriously. Which is funny because that's kind of what I think about Dolph Ziggler at this stage in his career. Every time I see or hear his music, every time I see this guy come down there, I just think, what a failure. Dolph Ziggler has been in the WWE since 2005. That is 11 years in the WWE.
Sure.
That is only 3 years less than John Cena. That's only 3 years less than Randy Orton. Matter of fact, Randy Orton might have started in 2003. I think it was 2002. This guy has been in this business in this company almost as long as those guys, and he is, at best, a mid-card jobber that didn't even have a great match with Dean Ambrose at SummerSlam. It was a decent match, but it was nothing special.
Yeah.
And, the thing about Dolph Ziggler is there was a point in his career where he had great potential. He had one of the biggest ovations of all time whenever he cashed in that Money in the Bank.
Oh, it's amazing.
And then they buried the guy to Alberto Del Rio, coincidentally. And that was it.
He never returned. Really,
he always, that's true. He always kind of tried to come back. There was that Survivor Series match.
Yeah.
That was excellent. Probably the highlight of his career as far as an in-ring standpoint. But anyway, the bottom line is he's burying The Miz here. I'm thinking the same thing about Dolph Ziggler he's saying about The Miz. He challenges The Miz to a fight. No referee. And
which at first, I'm thinking, well, here's something.
Yeah, well, I wasn't really sure what to think about this. Miz looks like he's going to leave the ring, and then he takes off his suit.
We're thinking, okay, here we go.
He's going to get back in, and then he doesn't get back in.
But he gets out.
And then he walks away. And then Dolph Ziggler talks a little bit more shit about him. He's about to go back, but his wife stops him.
Then he leaves.
And then he leaves.
Pointless.
Well, I wouldn't say it's pointless. A lot of things were pointless on this show. As far as the segments on the show, I thought this was one of the stronger segments.
Definitely.
Ziggler and Miz both cut good promos.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
I am still, even though Miz didn't mix it up with Ziggler right there, I am still intrigued as to where they go with this. I mean, I guess they're going to be facing each other at Backlash, which to me, Miz, I can't believe I'm saying this, Miz needs to win because Ziggler is a loser, and so if Miz loses to him, that makes him a loser.
Yeah.
So that's two people that are buried on this show. But if The Miz beats Dolph Ziggler, then maybe he can go somewhere with this, get a little bit of an upward trajectory. And then they're going to have to turn Dolph Ziggler heel. I don't know why they haven't turned Dolph Ziggler heel anyway. He's been a face for too long. He's become way stagnant. And at this point, I dislike hearing the sound of his voice. So that's a good sign that they need to turn this guy. And hopefully that's the direction they go. Before we head to commercials, we are told that we're about to see the Hype Bros versus the Vaude Villains. Woo! Good God. If that isn't going to get you to change the channel, I don't know what the fuck will. If you're sticking around after seeing that advertisement, you are a true fan of wrestling. That's all I have to say. You are the hardest of hardcore.
It's so bad. So bad.
The Vaude Villains came down to the ring in complete silence.
Yeah. No boos, no.
It was, you heard the music, which their music is not exactly hype music.
No.
No pun intended. It's just they walk out there with some old 1920s sound of music.
Little piano here and
which
there.
does not cover up the fact that the crowd did not give a fuck about these guys.
No.
Could not give less of a fucking fact. At one point during the match, Aiden English had Ryder down, hit some squat thrusts, and then he took a bump. It was like,
yeah.
I don't know what this was supposed to be. I guess he was supposed to be wrenching his arm in this,
his legs or something.
in this move, but it amounted to him squatting down a few times and then falling on his ass.
Yeah, it was awful.
And so the Vaude Villains lost. No surprise there. I gave this match a dud. Brett gave it half a star, which was incredibly generous. But here's my question for all of you faithful listeners. Who is worse, Titus O'Neil or Mojo Rawley? This is the question that I've been debating over the last few minutes, basically, since we saw this match. I was talking a lot mad shit about Titus O'Neil last night. He is so bad. I said that he's probably the worst on the roster. And he may still be. But Mojo Rawley is a strong fucking contender. I hate this guy. And then after the match, we had to hear a promo from Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder.
Worse than the actual match.
Yeah. I gotta say, I'm a big fan of this interviewer. She was something.
Yeah.
But
she needs to be on the show more often.
As far as the guys in this match go, I hate
Get the fuck out of here.
Yes.
Holy crap.
See AJ Styles backstage wearing John Cena's armband around his head.
Which is great.
Looks like a complete geek. And he totally buries Apollo Crews while he's walking past. And apparently Apollo Crews' gimmick now is reminding people who he is after Daniel Bryan famously forgot who he was because at one point Daniel Bryan called him Apollo Creed on the debut of Smackdown. So now Apollo Crews is going around telling everybody who he is. So that was that. We go to commercial. We come back. AJ Styles on the way to the ring. Kind of promo. Crowd's going crazy for him despite how ridiculous he looks with that armband on his head.
Yeah.
Probably not hard after a Mojo Rawley match. And then here comes Apollo Crews.
Which is great.
And AJ Styles is very offended that he came out here. Apollo Crews is just thrilled that he's coming out there. He's always smiling.
Yeah, great.
And I love Apollo Crews. He has no edge to his character right now. He's just a happy-go-lucky guy. The man's a hell of an athlete. He's a very good jumper.
It's amazing.
He's going around spelling things today. I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Not a good gimmick. They need to get rid of that.
They need to get rid of that.
Hopefully that's just a one-time thing.
And apparently the way to hit moonsaults off the apron is by missing your opponent, because that's what happened with Neville versus Jericho last night. Here,
it's like doing the moonsault and hitting him with your elbow on the way down.
Yeah, it hit him kind of like with the arm.
Yeah.
And that's it. But whatever. This was they had a short little match.
It was a great moonsault, though.
Yeah, it was a great moonsault. He's a hell of an athlete. This was a good little match. Not very long.
Yeah, that was the problem.
Yeah, just a few minutes long. And AJ Styles pretty much destroyed him.
Yeah.
Which he really should. I mean, if he's going to be going for the World Championship. I wish I could say the same thing about Dean Ambrose and Baron Corbin.
Oh.
We'll get to that a little bit later.
And
also, according to... God, this... all night, these announcers were driving me fucking nuts. And...
they didn't know what was going on.
No. And
they weren't even paying attention to the show.
Otunga, at some point during this match, he said, you could tell that Apollo Crews has grown up watching John Cena, because look at all that muscle. As if watching John Cena is going to make you a muscular guy.
Yeah, that's the stupidest thing.
What a stupid statement.
Oh my gosh. The announcers are so bad. I don't even think they're watching the match.
Well, at least they were facing the ring this entire time. Remember, at one point last night on Raw, they were not facing the ring.
No, not at all.
They were facing the camera away from the ring. Anyway, this match was probably the best match on the show. I gave it 1.5 stars. Brett gave it 3.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty decent. I mean, AJ Styles, he's always great.
Okay.
But Apollo Crews, I mean...
Yeah.
I wish they would have pushed him a little more, but it was pretty decent.
Well, unfortunately, they completely buried the guy after he lost to The Miz.
Yeah.
If he would have lost to The Miz now, it wouldn't have been quite as bad.
Yeah.
But that was lame Miz that he lost to, just clean as a sheet in the middle of the ring. So at this point, Apollo Crews is a total geek.
Yeah.
But a very athletic one, and one that I'm pulling for.
Waste of talent.
Yes. So up next, we have what was probably going to be the most questionable, either you love it or you hate it segment of the show, and that was we visited Heath Slater's house.
Oh, yes. I thought it was great. I thought it was hilarious.
So Renee Young, who was a goddess in this segment, by the way.
Oh, I know. It's unbelievable.
She is invited to Heath Slater's house. She walks in.
But you know who wasn't a goddess? Heath Slater's wife.
Yes. Heath Slater's wife there. She's this redneck woman.
Yeah.
It sounds like, what's her name? Andrew Brinson's mom. She's got that ick accent. They're living in a trailer park, I guess, or I don't know. Just a rundown old trailer house. I don't know exactly how I was supposed to feel about the people in this house.
It was...
Renee Young was disgusted. Rhino was there.
He was the best part of the segment.
I'm surprised by that because just last week they were just now beginning to become tag team partners. They had no idea. Rhino knew nothing about Heath Slater. It was just going to be his partner. And now they're hanging out eating spray cheese and crackers.
Hors d'oeuvres.
Yes,
Eating
and
hors d'oeuvres.
Yes, as Heath Slater's wife was so eloquently said. At one point, Rhino was squirting his cheese, and he made a frowny face on his cracker.
Yeah, which was the best part of the
The
whole
camera zoomed in on this.
Yeah, which was just made the scene so much better.
I'm not sure what we were supposed to take away here, but Heath Slater desperately needs a win because he needs to move out of this terrible neighborhood that he's living in.
Oh, man.
And considering the other tag teams that are in this tournament, he very well may.
I think Heath Slater and Rhino will be the tag team champions.
Maybe so.
That would be amazing.
We were told who their opponents were for tonight. The Headbangers. From 1997.
What a disgrace.
I could not believe that of all of the tag teams they could have gotten for this prestigious tournament, for these new championships, they found the Headbangers from 1997, who was a jobber team in their prime.
So awful.
These guys suck. And somehow we went from...
They've always sucked.
Yes, they sucked in their prime. They suck now. And we went from, a few weeks ago, bringing back Shelton Benjamin to now Kurt Hawkins and the Headbangers.
Gosh.
I was shocked by this. Next, we are told that we're about to hear a Bray Wyatt sermon. I thought, going in, this sounds boring. And
I thought it was...
It was boring.
I thought it was alright.
Brett liked it because he has not seen 2 million of these promos.
Yeah.
Every time Bray Wyatt goes to the ring, he says the same shit. The man loses most of his matches, so you can't take anything he says seriously. At the end of the day, he's just a guy out there with a rocking chair, mumbling a bunch of shit that he can't back up.
I think this is just honestly, his first time. Yeah. Not even this promo. Just the fact of Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, because Bray Wyatt is not on the level of Randy Orton.
No, at all. And there's still the Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton house match that's about to happen.
Oh yeah, but that's not going to be on the show, so it
well,
doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. But still, it's like Randy Orton's still in there with Brock Lesnar, but he's doing something else at the same time.
He's gone from Brock Lesnar to Bray Wyatt, which I wasn't going. Bray Wyatt was at one point going to face Brock Lesnar.
I mean, it's better than Randy Orton and Alberto Del Rio again.
That's true. I don't really have a problem with the Bray Wyatt Randy Orton match, but I did not want to hear this sermon. Randy Orton came out.
Oh yeah, and also, just toward the end of the segment, Randy Orton just goes, "Well, let's do this right now," and he runs up there, and we're about to go see his fight, and all of a sudden they go, "All right, well now that was awesome." They just
Randy Orton takes to the ring to fight Bray Wyatt, and the segment ends. The little sprite thing, flashes up on the screen, and
it's like the announcers.
Yeah, announcers completely no-sell whatever happened, and we go to a commercial break.
They're like, all right, now for a commercial break. We'll see you back here in a little bit.
Yeah,
They didn't even talk during the whole segment. They said nothing about it.
I was dumbfounded by this. Very stupid. I gotta say, all through his career, Randy Orton has kind of had the reputation of being not a great promo. I thought that he was so much better than Bray Wyatt here.
Oh.
Randy Orton had great delivery, great cadence. This man, you believe what he said because he is a legitimate badass who, even though he lost to Brock Lesnar, he had to get 10 staples on his head. And he didn't even really lose.
And the fact is...
They just, they stopped the match.
Yeah, and, if you could, you could see during that promo, he, moves his head a lot. You can definitely see those...
The stitches, yeah.
The stitches on his head. And it's, whew.
He referenced his wars with The Undertaker and Cactus Jack.
Much better than right now.
Highlights of Randy Orton's career, but perhaps not something you want to remind us, knowing that we are about to see a women's tag team match with Alexa Bliss and Natalya against Naomi and Becky Lynch with Nikki Bella on commentary.
Which is the worst part of the whole thing.
Yes. I actually don't have a problem with any of the women in this match, and let me just take the time to say this. We talk a lot about how SmackDown has the weaker roster when compared to Raw, and that's definitely true. And I think there's a perception that SmackDown's women's division is much weaker than the women's division on Raw, because Raw has Sasha Banks and Charlotte and now Bayley. But the thing is, Sasha Banks is not there right now.
No.
Paige is suspended. So who the fuck does Raw have? They have Charlotte the champion, Bayley the challenger.
Don't say it.
And fucking Dana Brooke.
Oh my god.
They have 3 women on their roster. In fact, it has twice that.
Yeah.
So, you gotta... And all of them are better than Dana Brooke.
Oh, yeah. Every person ever.
And SmackDown's gonna have Eva Marie when she returns, and that'll be 7. Not that Eva Marie's like a great worker or anything, but I've got a soft spot for the woman because she's such a great heat magnet. So, as far as I'm concerned, the SmackDown women's division kicks Raw's ass. They are not gonna have any great matches, probably. And poor Becky Lynch has been so buried that
it's so bad.
She's nothing special. In fact, I'm pulling for Natalya in the 6-woman match, or whatever they're calling it, 6-pack bullshit. But overall, I think that the division, they actually have room for matchups that are not just one-on-one matches because they have more than 2 people in the division. So I'm very pleased by that. But this match, there was nothing to this match. The announcers were talking about Nikki's many fucking reality television shows.
Yeah.
Instead of the action in the ring. Then Carmella comes out and attacks
not only,
her.
In case you don't know, we don't have Total Divas
now.
We have Total Bellas.
Yeah, you don't want to get those mixed up.
Yeah.
That's a very, very important distinction there.
What does TV come to?
Nobody can keep straight how many reality shows this woman is on.
Oh my gosh.
The best part about this whole segment is Natalya with her noise that she's been doing for years.
Oh.
She gets
up this
weird... She'll do a move, and then she'll stand up and go, ah!
She has this weird yell.
Yeah.
It's like she's doing a mating call or something.
Yeah. I have no idea how to describe this, but it's just a guttural yell.
It's so awful.
I hated when she would do this all her career. But now that she's a heel, I kind of like it.
It's just funny.
So, Natalya should have been a heel all along. There was nothing to this match. Honestly, I'm not even sure if I can remember who won this thing. It doesn't matter in the end of the day. I think Alexa Bliss rolled up somebody or something.
I can't even remember. It's so bad.
It doesn't matter. I gave it a dud. Brett gave it 1 star.
Honestly, I'm not even sure if it showed it. Because the whole time it was showing Nikki Bella getting attacked.
Attacked by Carmella. I'm not really sure why Carmella hates Nikki Bella, but good on her because I hate her too. And I don't know how this turns Carmella heel. I guess the fans are booing her a little bit. I think it was because she wasn't really getting much of a reaction as a babyface because she doesn't have Enzo Amore or Big Cass anymore, so they want to turn her heel.
Huge problem.
And she is, I guess, kind of more of a natural heel anyway. Whenever she started on NXT, she was supposed to be a heel. Then she just kind of got over because she was with Enzo and Cass. Yeah. But whatever. Her attacking Nikki Bella, I have no problem with that. Announcers once again hyped that the Headbangers are coming back after 16 years. How could Vince not have a problem with this statement? 16 years. These guys have been in purgatory or whatever the hell they've been, and now they're coming back.
So awful.
That's a bad sign for where we are as a business. So we have the Headbangers versus Heath Slater and Rhino. There was nothing to this match. Heath Slater just got beat up the whole time.
Oh,
Somehow during Heath Slater getting beaten up, Rhino started bleeding.
I'm not sure what happened because there was one point in time where I don't really care what their individual names are, but one of the headbangers, he wrecks Heath Slater's life, obviously, and then he runs in the corner and he hits Rhino.
Oh.
Rhino kind of falls off, hits the mat, and I think he may fall off. I'm not 100% for sure.
Well, that must have been it then.
But there is definitely a point where Rhino goes back in there, he breaks up the pin, and he goes and hits the other one off, and you can see his face, and half of his face is covered in blood.
Yeah, I mean, it's somewhere near what Randy Orton was having at SummerSlam.
Oh, no.
But yeah, this guy...
But still, it was... And the stupid part is, the announcers said nothing.
Yeah, the announcers probably weren't supposed to say anything about it. But it cracked me up because here we just had like this 2-3 minute match. I don't think that Rhino was ever tagged until the end when he gored this guy. And then they stand up, the camera zooms in, the crowd's going crazy because Heath Slater's over, and you got Rhino here with a bloody face. Some of his blood is splashed onto Heath Slater's chest. It looks like they just went through a 30-minute war.
Yeah.
They came out the conquerors. But in fact, they just beat the Headbangers in 3 minutes.
And they literally just took enough time to go through a car wash.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you'd have to go through a pretty quick car wash to make it through there before this match was over. And then we come to the main event. Oh, I gave that match a dud. Brett gave it 2 stars.
Yeah. I'm just hoping for that Heath Slater push, man. I mean, they're pushing him.
Yeah, the crowd. He's over with the crowd. He's made it to Backlash.
I called it, too.
I can't remember who they're facing next to the tournament. I wasn't really paying attention to their brackets because every time they came up, I had to look away in disgust.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Heath Slater push.
Yeah.
I hope they just...
I agree. It's a great plan. Big fan of Heath Slater. But, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they do.
Yeah.
Definitely better than the Hype Bros and the Vaudevillains.
Oh, man.
So we come to the main event. It's Dean Ambrose versus Baron Corbin.
And first off, they didn't hype this matchup not one time.
Well, they talked about it all through the show.
Yeah,
but Dean Ambrose and Baron Corbin had nothing to say about it.
Yeah, you didn't see any of them throughout the show. Nothing. There's no hype for this match.
Right.
I really don't think anybody cared.
And before the match even started, you might have forgotten about this, but I'm going to remind you now. There's some guy in the ring.
Oh, that's right.
There's
some milkman.
Yeah, apparently he was a milkman. I don't know.
At first, when I saw him, I was like, man, we're about to have another Santino Marella moment where some dude randomly becomes a new superstar or something.
I have no idea who this guy was. Neither did the crowd. They were chanting, "Who are you?" JBL had no idea who he was. This guy's just standing in the ring. He starts taking off his clothes. He's got tighty-whities on. And then Kane's pyro goes off. He comes to the ring, chokeslams him, and then leaves. What the fuck was the point of that?
That might have been the biggest waste of time ever.
Well, they didn't even eat up any time with it. It was just Kane chokeslamming this geek. And that was it. I guess, looking back, there's not really much to be offended by this. It's just Kane chokeslamming this guy. But
I mean, it's just...
it was
so stupid.
It was so random. Anyway,
golly.
Then Baron Corbin comes out. And here comes Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose he got good cheers.
Yeah, he's great.
What I was struck by during this match, which was very boring, but it was mostly Baron Corbin beating up Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
And which kind of pisses me off because people have been talking. I've watched this Baron Corbin with Tree Trunk Sean and ever since he started NXT. Neither of us could understand why this guy is supposed to be such a big deal. He's, I guess, slightly taller than the average wrestler, but he has no muscle tone. He's not an intimidating force. He's supposed to, the announcers keep calling him like he's a beast. To me, this guy is not a beast. He's a lanky bitch.
Yeah.
He looks like some guy that you just see walking around at the local Sonic, ordering a unsweet tea or some shit. Yeah. Or a cherry limeade. I don't fucking know. Yeah. But there is nothing intimidating about this guy in my eyes. Also, his hairline is receding so fast.
Yeah.
He's going to have to do something about that.
It's just so awful. I mean... Like, if I had, if you could look at Baron Corbin and say one thing, it's no potential.
Yes.
At all.
He's terrible in the mic. He's terrible in the ring. Does not look impressive. What the fuck do they see in this guy?
No, the only time you can tell that's been put into Baron Corbin at all not ring experience, not mic experience, especially.
No, that's his worst area.
The only thing that has gone into Baron Corbin is his entrance, and that's it.
Yeah. And frankly, I liked his entrance better whenever he was surrounded by the white light instead of the red light, because the red light has been taken by Kane and Eva Marie, both of whom are so much more over than Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
But anyway, they have a pretty boring match. AJ Styles is on commentary, which is kind of amusing.
Yeah.
Much better than Nikki Bella and Charlotte from last night. Eventually, AJ Styles just kind of got involved for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure why that was. And
he distracted Baron Corbin.
It ended up distracting Baron Corbin, and then he kicked him in the head. Yeah. And Dean Ambrose won, or I guess lost, by disqualification. So, technically, Baron Corbin has defeated Dean Ambrose here.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Anyway, then the three men get into a brawl, which I actually liked much better than the match.
Oh, yeah.
Dean Ambrose and AJ Styles are going at it. Baron Corbin tries to interject himself. He gets DDT like the geek that he is by Dean Ambrose. And then
AJ Styles goes up.
Yeah.
For
the phenomenal forearm.
Yeah, that's right. Odd move.
Before he can deliver the phenomenal forearm, though, he falls, straddles the rope, which is a spot that we see all the time.
But yeah, and it happens all the time.
But the WWE is very focused on the testicular region these days. First it was Big E Langston. It was out for a month after he got racked on the pole. And now, AJ Styles, he took this bump and gets crotched on the top rope. He sold the shit out of this thing.
It was one of the... And Dean Ambrose...
AJ Styles was just in terrible pain.
Yeah, and
Dean Ambrose was very amused by this.
Yeah, he makes him look like a straight fool.
Yes. Dean Ambrose, he sidles up next to AJ Styles.
Gives him a pat on the back.
Gives him a pat back, says he's in a tough situation. He bounces him around a little bit, which AJ Styles just screams in pain.
Yeah, gives him a nice little handshake.
And then he leaves.
He leaves.
Dean Ambrose walks away. The music's playing. AJ Styles is still sitting there on the rope, just in immeasurable pain.
Mouth open for 5 minutes straight.
Just shrieking in pain as we go off the air. I don't know if that was going to get him over as imposing force that's going to become the next world champion.
I don't know, man.
But one thing I can say about AJ Styles is he is hella entertaining. He's the best person on this show. I desperately hope that he becomes the world champion. Dean Ambrose is fine.
Yeah, I mean, what needs to happen is he needs to quit wasting time with these shitty matches that don't relate to anything.
Yeah.
And, if we would have had, cutscenes backstage with AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose, which it should be, we should be hyping up for that, then it would have been awesome, probably.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of heat in this feud, and they don't really have anywhere to go because there's only one more week until the pay-per-view. Whereas with Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler, they had all this heat built up, and then they didn't really deliver at SummerSlam. So maybe it'll be the reverse effect here. Nobody really cares going into the match, but then when they get to the match, it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, and just like yesterday on Raw, we had Sami Zayn versus Jinder Mahal.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a legend and a stack of potatoes.
Right.
And we just decided, that worked out pretty well on Raw, which it didn't.
No.
And they just did it on SmackDown.
Right. I would argue that Dean Ambrose versus Baron Corbin was a little bit better than Jinder Mahal versus Sami Zayn. But regardless, there wasn't much to it. Not much to this show as a whole. After we were singing the praises of SmackDown yesterday, Raw, I gotta say, kicked SmackDown's ass this week.
Yeah, he kicked their candy ass.
I think it was the biggest blowout so far of the ratings wars, or whatever you want to call it, the SmackDown versus Raw era that we're in now. If SmackDown continues having shows like this,
it's over.
Yeah, their ratings are going to tank. They've been having good ratings.
Oh, I know.
Pulling in pretty consistently doing 2.7s. They were down to 2.4 during the Olympics, but after the Olympics they were back up to 2.7 million viewers. That's only slightly less than Raw, only about 0.3 million less than Raw on average. But I can't imagine that the numbers would be too good after this show.
Yeah, and we've been giving SmackDown high praise.
Yeah, it's been great.
I know.
But tonight, they just totally dropped the ball.
We just need Cesaro on SmackDown.
Yeah,
that's the answer to all the problems right there.
Or maybe Samoa Joe. Or Nakamura.
Oh, well, yeah.
Or even Austin Aries. Or really anybody on NXT.
Yeah, really. Gosh.
Well, at least we have tomorrow to look forward to. We'll have NXT and the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yeah, Cruiserweight Classic.
It's the best night in wrestling.
Yeah, Cruiserweight Classic. is the highlight of the week.
Yeah.
At least, for me, it's just so great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So hopefully we'll have more to look forward to tomorrow. But that was SmackDown. Not exactly an impressive outing.
#sad.